You have to go with, we'll go to the, what were you saying? So the case, Diddy case is coming to an end shortly.
Yeah, so what's it?
Let me Google this bad boy.
So
Let's see what they dropped.
What I saw yesterday was that, I don't know if they have been dropped or the potential.
No, I think I've read something that they dropped.
Yeah, that I heard that like some of the charges.
Closing arguments begin.
Yeah.
And that's 1 hour ago.
Yeah. So like they were saying that, yeah, so I heard that the closing arguments are beginning today and that they reckon by at least next week the latest, you know, then they're gonna have the final verdict in.
So they removed claims of arson.
Yeah.
And kidnapping.
Kidnapping, yeah.
Yeah, so kidnapping and arson have been removed.
Because...
But it's a RICO case, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engagement. He's finished. He's finished.
You still think, yeah,
he's finished. Sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Have you seen that guy, the Punisher? He's been doing mad rounds on social media, on Vlad and all that.
Yeah.
They paid him.
Barry Bonds, I think his name is, something like that.
No, not him. That's his bodyguard.
Yeah.
The Punisher is the man that was giving it to
and he was saying that
he used to wear the mask or whatever. Yeah.
The intricate details, he's saying that.
Yeah, he's done bare interviews.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he went on like a tour.
Vlad TV, all these guys. Yeah. So
he got a book out, I don't think.
He got a book, bruv. Yeah, but he played it nice. And nobody knew about him. So everything went into action. You know, the minute he got a subpoena to go court.
Yeah, funny enough, because like, did you see the Vlad TV and the Vlad TV interview that he did?
Some of it.
Did you see the one where he said that he got like an implant?
Nah.
Yeah.
What implant?
So basically, they're like, you know, you just learn new things all the time. He said that he got like because of what he does and all that, he had like kind of not erectile dysfunction, but he had issues.
Yeah.
You know, so he's got like an implant.
Go on.
Yeah. So basically, it's almost like you press a button, and he's like ready for action.
What he's got like. So that's mad.
Yeah.
That's mad. But he still feels everything though, he must do, innit?
Yeah.
That's mad. I suppose in his line of work, he can't be out of action.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I did see, I don't know if it was on Vlad, and like, he goes on, the first time, I don't know if it's the first time he got there, and obviously Cassie's there, he's on it, he's like, whatever, ready to go, like he's excited now, innit? Until he clocked it was Diddy. He goes, come on, we all heard the stories, man, because I think he's from Brooklyn. So we all know the stories, like how he gets down, yeah? So he goes, I was on edge now for the whole thing, innit? Yeah, he goes, obviously I don't know what my man's agenda is, innit? Because he goes, in my head I was thinking like, I'm doing my thing, but I'm like, is he looking at me? Like, is he like, you know what I'm saying? Like things like that, like craziness. But he's finished. He's finished. I love the word finished. I like throwing that around. Yeah. Throw it around like it's going out of business, innit?
You know what?
But for sex trafficking, racketeering.
For some weird reason, I feel like he might can get away with it.
But not because he's not guilty, because he is who he is.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I think because he's not guilty.
For what? Sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
Like, I think he's like, and when I say he's not guilty, I think he's guilty of loads of stuff. Loads of heinous acts.
But not what they've got.
But I think like what they're like, and I know that obviously for me the American legal system is kind of different, you know. But for me, almost like what they're trying to convict him for me is they're almost like technicalities, you know, like because like for example, like what was one of the charges? Flying in somebody in.
Yeah, I think that's that's what I was gonna say. So as far as I'm aware, transportation to engage in prostitution when you cross state borders. So he's alright doing it with that Punisher guy. Because he's in New York, isn't it? So the guy lives in New York State. You hired him in New York State. I don't know the details of that, but that's perfectly fine. But if he was in Miami, and then you flew my man in, or if you flew the Punisher out to Miami, now you've crossed the line, innit?
Yeah.
Because now it's transportation to engage in prostitution, isn't it?
Because I think, from what I did see, a lot of it for me, it seemed like they were really just trying to really just get at his character. Because a lot of the information and some of the people testifying and things like that, for me, there was like, it wasn't directly to do with the case.
It's more character assassination.
Yeah, it was more like they were trying to say, you know what, we don't have that much evidence, but we're trying to show you that this person could be capable of it. Because people are testifying
about... you can't do a man being capable of doing it. It's got to be the crime, innit? Not whether or not he's capable of doing something. It's got to be the crime, innit?
And I think that's what makes me feel like he might be able to get away with
Hold
it.
on, no, sorry. Transportation. So we've got two charges: sex trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution. Is that not the same thing? That might be different under their law.
I think they're different because of almost the technicalities of it.
Okay. But racketeering is a separate one, and that one I don't think he's going to get done for. The only thing I think, because they have to prove without a doubt that Bad Boy was a criminal organization, which it wasn't. So if misappropriation of funds is not racketeering,
No.
you know, it's not, is it? If you as a director of a company spend your money on X instead of Y, that's not racketeering.
And like that's why I think like
I don't think it is anyway.
I think if anything for me, maybe one sticks, the weaker one sticks, and it maybe I don't know what comes with that.
Or the defense might be playing the angle, because I heard, not even or, whether or not it's correct or not, that they're playing the angle of it's an unfair trial because he's been killed in the media. They've already killed him in the media.
Yeah.
So how can they have a fair trial?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think for me, definitely that would be like I think if they was going to appeal, yeah, those are the grounds that I think
after the effects.
Yeah. They'll be using. But because people like forget as well, like a lot of stuff that he's done, he's been bankrolled by some serious people. You know, so that's why I don't think the racketeering
And the videos,
thing
and
lasts
apparently,
as well. 'Cause even Bad Boy for me, you know, those things are. I think it was connected to Aristar and. Which is like connected to the bigger music groups, like so. It's not.
He was mentored by.
He wasn't like Master. No, you know some of his other ones where they were like street hustlers and he started record labels.
No, he came in the game.
Like
he came in the game big.
He came in the he was like an intern, working, got some artists together, then got funding from almost
The major labels.
From the major labels.
Yeah, major labels. Yeah.
You know, so that's why I think it's difficult because then now what are you now?
Or you then gonna say that the bigger label gave him the money. They've got to be complicit.
Yeah.
Because for him to be going for as long as he went, they can't be funding him. If there were rumors, let's say, okay, rumors came up in court, people heard this, somebody heard that, blah, blah, blah. So you're saying now then that major label gave him money knowing that he was about to go on, or he's racketeer, or he's doing whatever he's doing. Yeah.
So yes, I think, so it's definitely for me an interesting one.
And the music industry is dirty anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like 100%, but I feel like all industries are dirty.
Nah, but more in the music industry more so.
Yeah, like for me, anywhere where there's like money and power.
And an element that people don't look at, you know, with the music.
Yeah.
There's money and power, but it's not just that. So there's money and power at the top of it, innit?
Yeah.
But then the people that blow up in music come from nothing. So when they come in from nothing, that's where the corruption happens. Because the guys with money and power now, try and like rob them, steal from them, make them do mad things to get what they need to get to.
It's almost the same thing no matter where they come from. Because when you think about how, like Weinstein, for example, you know, he didn't come from the streets.
No, but what I'm saying,
but he was still abusing
but he's at the
power.
top. What I'm trying to say is, top of the pyramid is the Diddy's, the Weinsteins. These guys are already established in it. But the actors trying to make it. Basically, if you go, I believe if you're trying to make it in music, if David Beckham's son tries to make it in music, he ain't gonna fall into them trappings.
No, yeah, of course not.
Because he's already established.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand? But what I'm saying is the corruption comes from
people there.
From the poverty. That the entry point is poor people who've got nothing else they can do but this talent.
Yeah.
So when they come up with that talent now, that's where the corruption comes. Because you got these deviants now at the top who are like into this kinky shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, well if you want to make it, you can make it, but you need to do that. Then these guys now, it might be a ratio of like 1 in fucking 50 that come through the door, agree to it, they go through.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I would just think though, you know, like I just think it's a lot more, because even like for me, even how you described it, I think it's just a lot more prevalent than we think.
What, across the board in other industries?
Yeah, it's just across the board in the world, like as well. Like I think like people use these things to conveniently, like almost like scapegoat, you know, or to like to split off.
But the music industry,
like, and to say that, you know what, this happens here, but it doesn't happen.
Nah, but the music
anywhere elsewhere.
For me personally, the music industry and the film industry, they're dirty, innit? Because if you go back into the music industry, way back, like when the industry actually picks up, then you know when it started, the music industry?
Is it when? No, I don't know when.
Do you know who started it? So I watched another video that me and Hits are gonna dissect on the next thing. But I'm gonna give a little brief thing of a little snippet in that video. So basically, Prohibition.
Yeah.
So during Prohibition, it was all sleepies, isn't it? Like behind the restaurant,
Yeah.
behind it, there's like a sleepies, You got the bars back there,
Yeah.
all locked off. But it was all underground. So they had to entertain. So what happened is the liquor was moving, innit? All over America. The mafia's moving the liquor all over America, yeah? But they had to entertain the people drinking the booze. So you had like normal theaters and all that, but people would do the circuit. I think it's called the Chitlin circuit, I think it's called. Yeah, which was those underground sleepeasies. So the gangsters who were running the sleepeasies they create agents booking these underground artists, innit, to perform these sleepeasies, yeah? When Prohibition ended, now booze has gone legal. So all the big guys opened booze companies, they've moved on. But you still got these regional guys. So like in Chicago, you might have like one guy that's got 20 sleepeasies. You understand, yeah? But he's not part of the liquor industry now. So what that guy done, they figured out they could get contracts for these people that they've had performing at these different places, innit? So in Chicago, they created one record label. And that one gangster now manages all of these artists. So the people that opened the door for the music industry were gangsters off the bat. And these sleepies, it was all illegal, innit? So the characters that were running these things, like when Motown and that come around, these are all gangsters, innit? Like, and they came from Prohibition.
Yeah.
So they had no law to begin with, yeah? So when the record labels got created now off the back of the Prohibition, yeah? Like, it was over. And that's the remnants of it that we're dealing with now, innit? That's what I think. That's why the industry's dirty.
Yeah. I think that definitely probably plays a part in it, because I think for me that's definitely probably how it started. But then I think it's probably gone through lots of transitions since then.
Yeah, definitely.
And different type of evolutions. Because when you think
But-
about like,
but-
because we know who runs it now.
No. But it's gone through many transitions. But the only guys that can keep a handle on it, the real, it's going to be like Suge Knight. Think about the characters, yeah? Diddy. You know the guys at the top, yeah?
Yeah, but then like,
you got to be
for me,
gangster. You can't come into it and not...
Like, you know what? I disagree with that, bro. Because I think those guys are not at the top.
No, I know they're not at the top, but I mean from...
Like-
if you look at the pyramid, like I'm saying,
Like,
you
they're
have
just
the
the-
top.
they're just
you
the puppets.
No, but I'm saying you have the top, but we're talking about now the management. Suge Knight, that's where it gets dirty, innit? So the record label, the corporations at the top, definitely. But what they've done, so it's like the booze. So the booze companies at the top, innit? Yeah? But they have these little Ciroc and this
and that's what-
and that underneath. And that's the managers. That's what I'm saying. Those guys, you have to have an iron fist.
Like, even like when you think about the booze companies, for example, just like with a lot of companies, there isn't many of them.
Not at the top, no.
Like,
There's a lot
no,
of brands. There's a lot of brands you see.
No, yeah, but as one to say, even like with the liquor, for example, when I say there's not many of them, there's about 10 billion brands, but they're all owned by the same people.
Yeah, Diageo,
Yeah.
Diageo,
So it's not like really it's one company.
Of course it is, yeah.
Same like fashion, same like music.
True, yeah.
So for me, there's gonna be loads of people that own pubs, for example. Yeah. But for me, like Suge Knight, Puff Daddy, all those people, for me, they're equivalent of publicans to me. Like,
Of what? Yeah.
like-
Same thing. Yeah.
To us who don't have as much as they have, for example, you might look at them and think, you know what, they have some type of power, some type of money, some type of influence. But even like what's happening with Puff Daddy now, for example, lets you know, that he didn't really have that much power. They allowed him to do what he needed to, what he was doing for a certain period of time. But when they decided enough is enough, he's finished. The people that are really at the top of those pyramids, you don't even know their names.
No.
You never even see them. Like, they wouldn't even go to court. They'll be like, like that politician. I can't remember who it was, but that politician who shot somebody. Like they went on like a hunting range. I can't remember what
American politician.
He's American. Yeah, he's American.
Well,
guy.
it was next to Bill Clinton, one of those guys. Or Bush.
Yeah.
Dick Cheney.
Yeah, I think
Dick
that's,
Cheney,
I
Dick
think that's
Cheney,
him. And he just basically got away with it. For me, like when you're at the real power, you don't even see cool. Like this is what happens. Like this is what they do to like set examples, to teach you a lesson, to keep you in line for me. It's like, you know what, you might have thought this person was, but look. And I think they always do that.
Yeah.
They let you know at any point in time.
Breaking a buck is cool.
Yeah. It's for me, it's exactly that. So that's why I don't think like those, like, I think even like when I was saying before where I think like he might get away with it, because I feel like they've already, to a certain extent,
They've probably done a deal on the back.
Yeah, they might have done a deal, and if he does whatever come out from this, he's definitely falling into line. Whatever power he thought that he had, he now knows he's absolutely powerless.
What do you think about the tapes and all that then? About the tapes and stuff? Because apparently he is recording all the freak offs.
Yeah.
So maybe he gave up the tapes. You know what I mean?
I think, but that's the thing. It's a bit like
apparently it's on the dark web. There's tapes on the dark web. Like,
I think even like for me, the tapes are almost similar to Epstein's list.
Yeah, basically.
You know.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that list is not coming out.
It can never come out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they're gonna feed you some people who are on this who they don't care about. But the real
but
people.
nobody's actually come out on it. You've
Exactly.
heard, people have heard people say
Yeah.
they've seen tapes on the dark web, but no one's actually released the tape.
Exactly. No one's released it. No one said it. So it's still really in that speculative hearsay space. Because really, and this is what I believe, to be honest. If there was really tapes, you would have seen it. You know, like, because like when people talk about the dark web, for example, it doesn't hard to rip something off the dark web and put it onto the normal web. It's not some special place where you can only see it. It's not Snapchat where it disappears. It's like,
I think it is. But yeah, somebody would have released it. Because the people that I've seen talking about it are people that are already established. So they got things to lose. But some scatty guy who's got nothing in India, could you bam, put it out.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But no one's done it.
And it would have, you know,
it would have gone, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I look at those things where, so I don't know who he was filming.
Everyone, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently at the parties, all the rooms were camered up. So
but I think the people who was filming, I don't think they had any power.
No, the people he's filming, the only power, the people he's filming are like, apparently,
So they're like millionaires, basically. Yeah,
they're influential, but if you needed something done like advertising, you want that one in the film, people like that. But nobody, like Epstein had the politicians.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like the real people.
The head of states.
Yeah, but Mama just entertainment. Mama just entertainment.
Exactly
like this label wants that person to do that. Nah, we can't get him to do it. He doesn't want to do it. Speak to Diddy. Boom, Diddy. That guy don't want to do it. No problem. What we saying? 5 minutes. No problem. Transfer it. Boom. No problem. Yo, you need to go and sit down with them and do that. I'm thinking it's that, like a fixer. You know
I think, you know, it's definitely like along them lines, because obviously it does get murky, you know, in those worlds, innit, where the two things, like we were saying before with the prohibition link and stuff like that, where even over here it's like the same. You know, the underworld and the nightclub scene are hand in hand.
Hand in hand, yeah.
You know, even today.
The music business, all of it.
That like it's probably not so much the music business over here, you know, like because
you don't think so?
Not really, because I think like, so for me, like even like that's why I said to you, I understood the roots of what you were saying, but I don't think it's prevalent today. So for me,
so basically like you're saying,
the nightclub business for me isn't connected to what I'm calling the music business. You know, so for me, the music business for me is Tidal, Spotify.
True.
Warner.
True.
That's the music business for me. Yeah. The nightclub business is still local-ish. You know, like that's why even like I said, like you will have like notorious people owning nightclubs. Like it's still, but you don't own nothing. The liquor isn't yours.
No.
You just own the space, and you know, like you can control the door.
You're a publican. You're publican.
Yeah.
You're publican or publican?
Yeah, it's publican. Yeah. So that's why I look at that. For me, they're not the music business.
No.
Like they're just, and that's why they can go at any time.
Yeah.
You know, so I do think, you know, like the key, even like what I was saying before, where I just think like, I don't know, I think power on that type of scale corrupts most people.
Absolutely, power corrupts.
Like, and I think like a lot of people look at it from the outside and say that they would never do something. But even, I think we said similar in the last conversation, where for me, I just think that because some people have never been in those situations, it's quite easy to say.
It's easy, yeah.
Anybody
could comment.
You would never do it,
yeah,
you know,
comment,
when they've never seen a million.
Yeah.
They know
A million, yeah.
They know what it's like to be surrounded by, for example, by people who just consistently always say yes. Yes. So then what now effect does that what does that now do to your ego? You know,
you lose yourself.
How entitled now do you start feeling? How important do you feel? Like, people always forget that it's a journey to get to that place. You don't wake up one day as a megalomaniac, you know, or narcissist. That's not how it works. You know, there's the little things and little things, and then you get to a place where your world isn't the same as somebody else's world. You know, it's a bit like people who have like schizophrenia and other types of kind of mental health conditions. You know, a lot of those people, the journey is gradual, and you can't tell the person who's schizophrenia, for example, that the person he's speaking to next to him doesn't exist.
True. You can't know.
He sees that person.
That's his reality, yeah.
That's his reality.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I think it's difficult for me to even judge people in those situations.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, because from what I've seen, you know, like power does have make people do like the most.
I think it just brings out your real character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think, and that's
some
the
people,
thing.
Some people have more discipline. Some people have
some
more
people don't know
self-control.
their real character.
Yeah, very true.
You know,
but that's what you said about the
we
journey.
have our perceptions of ourselves.
Sometimes the journey will help you learn your real character before you get there. Yeah.
And that's the thing, like because.
Nah, but it could change anyone, man. Somebody could, you know, like, you don't have the means, somebody could say something to you or do something to you, and you'd be like, you don't have the means, so you just brush it off.
Yeah.
But you got the means now. Somebody says something to you or does something to you, and all of a sudden it's like, well, hold on, who are you talking to? You know what I mean? Because you got the means now to go and execute whatever you want to do, innit?
It's exactly that. And for me, it's like another thing people forget as well is that like the time difference.
Go on.
Like, it's like we've come a long way, for example, in the last 30 years. In regards to when you forget like what people are dubbing almost as woke culture. Like a lot of the things that people are being crucified for, 30 years ago, they were being celebrated for.
Commonplace, yeah.
You know, they were actually being celebrated. That was like, you know what I mean? That was commonplace back then. You know, but some of these people in the isolated world, they haven't had to conform to woke culture.
Yeah.
Because they've had money, they've got power. Yeah, they don't have to conform.
Yeah.
Where a lot of times the people who are conforming, normally people that don't have the power.
True.
The people that don't have no influence, because you don't have no choice.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit like you might go Harrods, for example, right now, and you see Lamborghinis parked in the middle of the road. Yeah, if me and you go Harrods, we're not parking in the middle of the road.
Nah.
Yeah, we don't have no power. We don't have that influence. We're parking in the car park.
Yeah,
we're towing the line.
Yeah.
You know, so all those things are amplified for me on all the different scales. You know, so that's why I think it's difficult. It's difficult to judge. But with the Diddy thing, as I said, I think we just wait and see. You know, like as I said, I feel like he's done loads of things wrong, but I think so has loads of people as well. Like, and that's why
he just happens to be the one under the spotlight.
Like at the moment, and that's what one of the things I don't like about
he's
it.
He's a deviant.
Yeah,
he's a public deviant. That's what he's guilty of.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's done that without a doubt, like you said.
Yeah.
There's things he's done that nobody will ever find out about. Because you know the craziest thing about it, the craziest thing I see about it that made me laugh. One guy said, you remember in 90s, 2000, everybody was talking about Suge Knight, scared of Suge Knight. Diddy won. He was the bad guy. Suge Knight wasn't the bad guy. Diddy was a bad guy. And I just sat there, you sit there and you think like, wow. You know, if you don't know nothing then, how you don't know Diddy's running down Suge Knight in LA? You know, nobody knows anything. No, I didn't anyway, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's crazy.
But even like when you think about that, both of them two brothers, like it's amazing when you think where they are now.
Exactly.
You know, it's absolutely crazy, you know, to think that they're both in prison right now. One ain't gonna come out as long as he's alive. You know, and the other one potentially might have the same fate.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about in their height of their fame, none of them could have envisioned something like that could happen to them.
Nah. How many decades
And
later?
I think that's another thing for me that power does in those times and moments. So it blinds you to reality until it's too late.
You can't see around the curve, around the bend and that,
And then now it's just like what? It's like, how did you end up here?
Yeah.
You know, just like with a lot of things where they were getting away with so much things. Everything that they've done and everything that they got away with, it's only naturally you're gonna start to feel invincible.
True.
You know, like it's been alleged that they've killed people, for example, and got away with it. You know, that's almost like the highest, the worst thing that you can do in society. You know, it's one of the things that comes with the highest kind of penalties. You know, and these people are allegedly doing it.
They done it with impunity.
And getting it.
Impunity. Like, done it with impunity.
Let alone, you know, because even like with how some of this Diddy stuff started, for example, with the Cassie incident in the hotel. Yeah, people forget that was like 7 years ago.
Do you know how it started? Apparently.
mean?
Yeah, the whole Diddy thing.
No.
Do you remember Jamie Foxx was in a coma?
Hmm.
And then Jamie Foxx's family went to the FBI saying Diddy done it.
Hmm.
And Jamie Foxx came out of coma, did a special, not saying he done it, but like apparently, like, because he's been leukemia a bunch of people. I'm not talking about the shooting murders, like the alleged shooting murders. We're talking about alleged, like, leukemia murders, like where people die from, healthy people just dying from leukemia.
Yeah.
That's associated with him, innit? And apparently, allegedly again, taking hits for other people.
Yeah.
Like, but like leukemia murders, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so after my man said it, that's when the FBI got involved in it.
Right.
And then they started investigating him, and that's why Cat Williams, I could say, watch what's gonna happen. Did he be gone? You know what I'm saying? Like, because they knew what in the background what happened, didn't
Yeah,
it?
of course. Because I feel like when you think about like us, for example, the information that gets to us is 5%.
Fact.
You know.
Fact, if that.
Like what the people closer to it, the closer to it you are, the more you're gonna know.
Yeah.
So people like the Jamie Foxxes, the Cat Williams, all those people that are really inside of those spaces, those people that's actually attending those parties, they probably know everything and more.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit like when you sometimes you might see on the internet sometimes like hood street stories, and they're told by third person.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing, it's nowhere near what they think it is, but is this what it is? The people who are receiving the information at the time, that's what they take as a gospel. So this is what's happening. So with all these things, I think like I said, we'll never know. You know.
Or we might know, but later on.
Yeah.
Later on.
You know.
Because we wouldn't have thought Suge Knight would be in jail now, and what's his name is going to be in prison. Diddy's going to be in prison, so you don't know what's going to happen.
But even like, for example, the Suge Knight thing, even though when he went to prison, we haven't heard no new information about him. So it's not like he went to prison and you heard all these stories were confirmed, stuff like that.
He's done podcasts from jail.
Yeah.
He's actually done podcasts.
Yeah, no,
from prison.
But what's he saying though? Is he like...
He's just talking about other people.
Yeah.
Like about Diddy and all that, you know what I mean?
And some of that for me, because I saw some of it and it was like, it seemed like fabricated almost.
It does seem like he's not making it up, but like it seems like, cause you know when you listen to what everybody else is saying, and he says something else, then next minute you're talking about Ray J, then Ray J's going at him, like why would he talk about me? Boom, boom, boom. Like, it's
because it is the...
Unless he's trying to stay relevant, I don't know what to do.
Because I think sometimes people always assume people are telling the truth. We're quite naive in that fact sometimes, you know, just feel like...
Until you're
some
proven wrong.
Are pathological liars.
Yeah.
You know, to just like, did they exist and they just lie? You know, we just assume that because they said it or because they're close to it, that they were telling the truth. And ultimately,
facts.
You know, like, it's only the person who were there knows.
Yeah, for a fact what happened.
And sometimes when they get caught out in his lies, that's how you know that to the extent that they're lies. Especially for me, those people that are in the fame thing, you know, it's all about eyes and all stuff like that. You just do anything, you know, to kind of...
There's a high level of narcissism involved in, you know, when these people trying to get famous and everything. You know, like me, I shit on anyone to get what they, you know what I mean? Like lie on this, speak on that, just to stay relevant and that,
When Suge Knight was doing a lot of them podcasts, for example, he was also trying to picture like a film deal.
Yeah, I know.
So like for me, it's like...
Sold it to a bunch of people.
If you are going to try and get a film out, you are going to need to build traction. The more sensational stuff you say, the more traction you're going to get. No one's going to care about no little polite story.
And the whole thing happened with him as well on the NWA set.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course.
He ran over
his friend.
Bone, you know Bone? You know from Training Day? I'm sure it's him.
Nah.
I'm sure it was him.
No.
You know that when he goes to the hood, one of the bloods in the hood where Denzel lived, the main antagonist who was like, I'm gonna get that
actor, you're saying?
Yeah, he wasn't an actor, he was a hood guy, innit? But he acted, it's LA, innit? Everyone acts.
Yeah.
So he was acting, I'm sure it was him.
I'm not sure, because I know the guy's name, I don't want to say the guy's name, but because the guy was like a bodyguard or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same dude.
Yeah,
same dude. So I think that's who he ran over. So I think somebody went to put a strap on him. He's trying to get away. And I don't know the details if he ran him over on purpose or he's just trying to escape or not.
No.
But he ran the guy over.
That's the alleged story of it, is that like, and that's how it was with a lot of these people. With that, so the guy who he's in prison for was his friend.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
You know, but he didn't like mean to do it. You know, but that's what they say some sort of karma as a way of kind of catching up on you. You know, and it's a bit like, even if you go probably prisons in England, for example, you probably see a lot of people in there that are not really in there for what they've done, basically. you know. But it just so happens that like that's just the way that the way the cookie crumbles.
The way it's where the cookie crumbles.
You know, and especially like the same thing for me with Diddy. Obviously, you take it back to Al Capone and those people. You know, where it's like they'll get you on something.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, maybe not what you've done, but whatever. And for me,
It'll come back full cycle.
That's the same thing. What's happening to Diddy really for me? You know, is that like because he's done so much and all that as well. Like so that's why even like having the conversation, probably changing my mind a little bit. I think they probably will.
What's that?
I said having this conversation, I'm changing my mind a little bit. I think they probably may end up convicting him.
I think
maybe
he might get pardoned later. You know what I mean? Because Trump does give out pardons. Man,
Yeah,
he's got
100%.
$1 billion. He's got, not unless they confiscate all his money, which I doubt they will, but if he's got $500 million somewhere, that'll go a long way. You know what I'm saying? Like Suge Knight ain't got no money. If Suge Knight had money, I don't think he'd be in jail right now.
No, 100%.
If he had he's got money, he's not broke.
No, he's broke.
But he's not broke. There's different levels of broke, innit?
Yeah.
Compared to what he was, he's broke.
Yeah.
You know, he's done people favors, isn't it? People that owe him favors. You know what I'm saying?
I think you'd be surprised what happens. You know, like when
He
you're
is
in a
doing
situation
podcasts,
there,
but why would you, again, like we're saying, the story's again extravagant. He is doing, why would you put yourself out there? If you got money, you ain't going to be talking nonsense. You're like, I don't need to talk about that.
and most people who go to prison or in prison will tell you that your money's going to go in a million miles an hour.
And his was already on the way out.
Yeah, and like his was out from a long time. You know, he wasn't successful really since the 90s.
True.
You know.
Since the first prison, so after Tupac died,
yeah,
the first prison sentence, since then he was on a decline because he lost all the masters after that.
Exactly. And now, because we're talking about 2025 now.
25 years.
You know, that money's not lasting.
Yeah.
You know, like it's...
Not in LA especially.
No, and it's going to have ups and downs, failed business ventures, you know, like how it goes. Like with a lot of them, we've got like Dame Dash in the news recently, for example.
He had to sell everything for the court order, right?
Yeah, like people are saying that he's bankrupt or, you know, like laughing at him and doing all types of things about like there was before where he had a lot of influence. Now look, people they will start turning their back on him. You know, so it's
the nature of the business, isn't it?
The nature of the game.
The nature of the game. Yeah, we'll wrap this one up.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Right up. Yeah.
Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.